All right. Hello and welcome everybody on YouTube. So, I'm live over on Twitch recording the Lex video. The streamathon is going well, but we need to talk about the Lex because it's really good. They fixed the Lex. It's a really good gun now. It already was like usable, but now it's messed up. It's a messed up gun now. It has just a few stats that are just a little bit different than they were. It has just some stats that are a little bit different than they were, and it has some other stats that are really new, really just brand new. Just a couple of brand new stats here that are doing a whole different thing, a whole different brand of war crimes. Also, in terms of our Incarnons, the things that I've chosen is damage on shield break and then damage. Get 20 damage base. That's added on. And then 80 if our shield breaks, which usually doesn't happen, but the other choice is also very unlikely. And then increase magazine capacity by 10. So there's a bunch of basically like reload stuff on here, and one of them is an accuracy and less recoil choice that you could make, but I think is bad. One is reload from empty. You get 100 reload rate. The other one is magazine capacity plus 10. Whenever you go into Incarnon mode, it'll reload your magazine whenever you return to the gun, so magazine capacity is objectively better. In the case where you're not just like spam shooting the Lex Prime at enemies without ever turning it into its Incarnon form. So yeah, that's probably not going to be what you're doing. So yeah, magazine capacity by 10 is great. And then finally, increase critical chance by 19%, and then plus 0.4x critical damage, which is just a ton of critical this is a bunch of critical stats. Just a bunch of critical stats. Very, very good. The build for this has changed a little. The build for this is now this. So, I am using Hemorrhage. The reason I am using Hemorrhage is because this extremely puncture-focused weapon turns into its Incarnon form, and every shot you fire procs impact. And even though the base form has a 2.9 fire rate, which is above that 2.5 limitation for the multiplication, the Incarnon form has a 0.9 fire rate. So that means we are going to get that full 70% chance for the slash on every single bullet that it hits an enemy and doesn't immediately vaporize them into dust. In addition to that, we have 96% status, so I've kept the weighting because we use the 2 status chance mods here for viral, but then we still have primed heated charge, so the vast majority of shots that I fire will not only proc slash on the enemy, but also proc heat on them. And fairly rarely do I have to shoot more than once. We're also using Deadhead because the Incarnon form is very Archoplasmor-like and has a really easy time getting headshots. So the plus 30% to the headshot multiplier is just another really big increase to damage, and we are also, very quickly building up our damage, only needing to kill 3 enemies with headshots in order to get that going. So yeah, it's it's real good. It's real good. You could definitely, it's worth noting, use Galvanized Shot on this. You could go that way if you wanted to. I don't think there's anything like that's wrong with that, but I really think it's unnecessary, and I think Hemorrhage is by and large going to be better. Anytime you get to use effectively a different variant of Hunter munitions on a secondary, it's what you're going to want to do. So yeah, this is just busted. Let's fire it at some poor, unassuming level 190 Geyer Gokstad officers who are much tougher than our regularly appointed corrupted enemies. As you can see, it charges very fast. Turn it into Incarnon mode, and then watch numbers happen. You're already dead. You're dead. You're dead. That's what that looks like. Oh yeah, no, yeah. As a chatter told me before I unlocked the Incarnon, it's just mid. This is mid. I mean, it's just truly middling. Yeah, kind of mid. Think it's okay. It's fine. Anyway, let's go to the Steel Path. I'm sure that it'll be super mid there. Searched the chat logs and could not find someone saying that. I was paraphrasing. They said it was not very good. Open a door. Open a door so the Lex can close it. Also, similar to the Latum, you can kind of just fire this thing at head level, and it kind of just works. You guys like that hit marker sound? Personally, I'm a fan. Also, I really love that, like, the Incarnon form has negative zoom. So, like, whenever you Incarnon form, it zooms out. Like, you literally Incarnon form, and it goes, you're going to need the wide lens for this one. It also makes it actually, like, much easier to get, like, the precision headshots whenever you're charging this thing up. Also, you'll notice on enemies that are reasonably tough, aka only steel path enemies that are armored, you also only need to shoot enemies in the head about 3 times, and you're fully charged on Incarnon mode. Which is really fast charging, super good. Yeah, this thing is a mood. Yes. I'm recording a video. It's okay. Sorry, Sarah wanted me for something. Not that it matters. I could have probably gotten up as Hildren. Oh, yeah, no, yeah. Yeah, as Hildren, it's worth noting, it's pretty much inconceivable that we're going to see the My Shields Broke damage bonus. So if you are playing as a Warframe that can, like, always have a shield gating breaking by, like, just doing, like, you know, shield gate survivability, you're going to have that bonus pretty much all the time in higher levels. So, yeah, there's another 80, like, base damage that we could be utilizing if we were on, like, a different survivability type. But I also think that, like, that's not necessary at all. Oh yeah, Harrow can actually force proc it. That's worth noting. Yeah, you can use Harrow to hit your 2 and then force proc that additional 80 base damage, but like it's unnecessary to even show that part of this weapon. Like it is you do not, yeah, no. I mean, doing that is just like, it's very extra if you want to do any of that stuff. Also, when the Acolyte shows up, I don't care who the IRS sends, I am not paying taxes. Like, it's... The Acolyte's not gonna like it. How many walls can we shoot through? Yep. Man, the straight up evaporation of enemies. Like turning a full hallway of enemies into a smoking mass is pretty good. It's mid. It's alright. It's okay. I'm only halfway charged, but that'll be fine. How dare you approach me? Like, that's what this weapon is like. How dare you approach me? That is the feeling and the vibe that this weapon is in its entirety. Oh yeah, I don't need to use roar. I also could have armor stripped that Acolyte. Don't need to do that. Hildren has every tool in the book to make it so basically any weapon in the game can kill an Acolyte, and I didn't need to use any of them besides shields. Yeah, it's good. You can you can use roar for comedy purposes. It is available for comedy purposes. Oh, did we just get the shield break buff for a second there? Did that Xmas actually knock my shield off for a moment? No more enemies in hallway. They are gone now. Do the roar? Okay, sure. I mean, I think it's pretty obvious what this weapon's up to. Like, the number's higher, but you can't really see a difference in terms of what it's doing. Yeah. Yeah. It's good. It's good. Maybe this is the pocket Baruch. You know, actually, yeah. Who took my gun? Who touched Sasha? Goodbye. Appreciate that it stays in Incarnon form. Even if someone takes it from you. Probably the other was to build it. It came a bit late. I mean, there's not really much else to do in terms of building it. Like, you can use galvanized, like the CO galvanized mod if you want to. Savvy? I think that's a shotgun one. I forget what the one for pistols is called. You can use the galvanized mod that increases damage per status effect. Like, you can do that, but like I don't know why you would need to do that. Is really the thing here. Yeah, shot. There you go. Galvanized shot is what it is. Oh no, an acolyte. Oh, by the way, it's worth noting that like while we were like leveling this gun, violence showed up whenever it wasn't even in its full form, and it was pretty similarly not a problem. There you go. Violence dies in about 1 or 2 shots. If anyone's curious about good ways for him to just fucking die. Where's that acolyte? You keep saying it's there, but I don't see him. It's true. Violence showed up and was shown what violence really means. Yeah, no, for real. You know what the craziest thing about this is that it's like this weapon doesn't widen out when you shoot it. Like the Lex, it starts really wide, so even if enemies are like right in front of you. Oh, hold on, I gotta get some charge to show this off. That's enough. That's enough charge. Like this. Like I'm hitting them. Like they're optimized. Like as long as they're like kind of in front of the gun, like they die. That enemy didn't know they were dead yet. Oh no, slash procs. Unfortunate. They kept my shields off. Alright, fine. I'll actually hit buttons as Hildren. Only a little, though. Should have jumped out into my operator. Oh, well. Doesn't really matter. I'm, like, purposefully not hitting buttons as Hildren. Oh, and that's our time. Oh, man. It's good for the Lex to be back. The Lex is back where it belongs. Is this modded or on? This is modded. Lex is the crit king again. We're still fighting the Latum, but if the Latum and the Lex are fighting, we're eating good. It's worth noting amount of kills here. That was 1,176 kills, and I as a test for Warframes with a kit, I generally go for the time to kill ratio, needing to be like 100 kills a minute. Like that's generally like my bar for like a full Warframe. Like Saren does that. I was using a secondary weapon. I didn't even have a companion with me. Also, to go over the evolutions once again and to talk about the rest of the Incarnons briefly. Yeah, this is plus 20 damage, and then on shield break, plus 80 damage for 8 seconds. Then magazine capacity by 10, and then critical chance 19%, critical damage 0.4x. Both of which are excellent. The other choices I don't even think really make sense as compared to this. But yeah. It's insanely good. In terms of the other Incarnons, the other Incarnon I picked for this week is the Boltor, which by all accounts from others is excellent. The Bronco also seems to be pretty good. And then other than that, the melee weapons are the Magistar, which seems just like kind of a nothing heavy attack weapon. It's there and it exists. And then the Ceramic Dagger. Now, the Ceramic Dagger has some special stuff there where it's like kind of all in on like turning the Ceramic Dagger into a stat stick, because it will eventually, with its perks, basically just give you constant 120x combo. Sorry, not 120x combo, 120 hits for its like starting hits. So it'll give you a big multiplier to start that you wouldn't have to manage at all. Currently, that works on stat stick stuff like Korras and Baruchs and yada 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 and all that stuff. But traditionally, the DE has not allowed that, because that's the reason why they nerfed the Zorus and every other weapon, like all of the Tenet melees, that could do such a thing. All of that stuff has always just been nerfed into the ground the moment they put it into the game. So I don't really trust that the Ceramic Dagger is going to stay how it is. Maybe you should not pick it this week and give them 6 weeks to figure it out until it rotates back around. But yeah, I personally like the Ceramic Dagger. From what I've seen people do, it's a really excellent stat stick, probably the best in the game. But I do not trust the DE will let it stay as that. So probably don't pick it, because I can tell you for sure what I've seen. The Lex and the Boltor and the Bronco all seem very good, and the Lex seems really good. But yeah, that's gonna do it for the YouTube video. So come hang out on Twitch. We're all hanging out. Look at this timer. This timer is insane. All right, everybody, welcome to post Duviri month, and thank you to all of the new and returning patrons. There are a lot of them, and it is hugely appreciated for the support. But we have our $10 patrons: Alex Parnham, Arbiter Daydream, Brutus Salazar, Dylan Dworsky, Ethrain, Hafan, IQ is Thick, James Harsthorne, JC4 Science, Jesse Richens, Joshua Adams, Lou Zanth, Malik X Williams, Minty Ginja, Michta, Paradise, Tamrielic Wastelander, Zach Zahner, and Zerafir to thank especially. But thank you very much to all of the new patrons and everybody that has jumped on board since like Duviri in this last month. It is hugely appreciated and really helps me run the site and just like get a lot of stuff done and get a lot of guides out. This month you can expect me to hit up as many of the Incarnons as I can possibly get my hands on, because that is gonna be a big focus here as we see that new stuff, and of course work on more guides and things with the free-to-play 3 coming back around and all that. Yeah, thanks everyone.